You ever see a great organization, a foundation, a public agency, even a company, that starts out with this brilliant, super clear mission, but then over time just kind of loses its way? It happens all the time, and it's not because they run out of money or hire bad people. Somehow, they just forget why they even exist. Well, today, we're going to dive into that mystery, why good institutions forget their purpose. So take a look at this chart. This thing is called the drift cascade, and honestly, it's a depressingly predictable pattern. You see how it starts at the top? Super clear, articulated intent. But then, well, after a little bit of success, a few leadership changes, a couple of those strategic shifts, you can see how the purpose just gets more and more fuzzy. Each little step seems totally logical at the time, but when you add them all up, you get this slow, steady drift right into total confusion. Now, I know what you're thinking. The first instinct is to blame the usual stuff, right? A new CEO who didn't get it, a culture that went sour, maybe some budget cuts. But here's the thing. The argument we're exploring today says that's not the real story. Even with great leaders, strong values, and plenty of cash, these institutions still drift. And that suggests the problem is way deeper. It's something structural. Okay, so if it's not the people and it's not the money, what in the world is it? Turns out the problem isn't a failure of memory or commitment. It's actually a failure of architecture. The very way we build our institutions pretty much guarantees that they're going to forget. Think about how we try to remember our mission. We use these powerful founding stories, right? Inspiring mission statements, a strong company culture. Basically, we rely on narrative. But here's the fatal flaw. Stories are not reliable carriers of purpose. They're actually designed to be retold and reinterpreted, which is the exact opposite of what you need to preserve a mission for the long haul. So this is the crucial point right here, this difference between two types of memory. On the left, you've got interpretive memory. The best way to think about this is like a sandcastle. It's built from our stories, our culture. Yeah, it's flexible and adaptive, but it's totally unreliable. It changes with every new person who tells the story. But on the right, we have preservative memory. This is more like a lighthouse. It's built on structure. It's designed to be stable and persistent. It's a fixed point you can actually govern by. And what's really fascinating here is when you break down our favorite tools, mission statements, they get revised, reinterpreted. Organizational culture, that evolves every time people come and go. Those founding myths, sure, they help with identity, but they work with big, abstract ideas, not precision. Look at that right column. None of them, not one, truly preserves the original intent. The only thing that gets a check mark is something new, what's called a first-class purpose object. And this quote just nails why this whole drift thing is so sneaky. It's not some sudden crisis. No, it's a series of small, perfectly plausible reinterpretations that happen over years. Every single decision seems right in the moment. And by the time anyone even notices, the organization is way off course. Well, the original purpose has already been swallowed up by a new story about what the institution has become. So, if our stories are broken, how do we fix this? The answer isn't to write a better story. It's to build a better blueprint. We have to stop thinking like storytellers and start thinking like architects. Let's take a look at what that actually means. The core idea is to treat an institution's purpose as what's called a first-class purpose object. Here's a simple way to think about it. Instead of the purpose just being an idea that lives inside the organization's head, you treat it like a separate, almost physical constitution. It becomes an independent, governable thing that the organization has to consult, but that it can't just change on a whim. It's a fundamental piece of the system, not just a passing thought. Okay, this diagram right here, this is the whole game. On the left is how we do things now. Purpose, the organization's structure, and its authority are all tangled up in a big knot. So when the organization changes, it yanks the purpose right along with it. The solution on the right is to decouple them. You pull them apart. Purpose becomes this external object that the organization references but doesn't actually contain. This is the absolute key takeaway. I'm going to say it again because it's that important. The institution doesn't contain its purpose. It references it. That simple shift is revolutionary. It means the organization's structure, its leadership, its strategies, all of that can evolve and adapt to new challenges without corrupting or redefining the core mission it was created to serve in the first place. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, this architectural shift has some pretty profound effects on how an institution is governed. It makes it way more aligned and, believe it or not, a lot easier to manage. This graph shows the payoff, plain and simple. That orange line is what happens now using our story-based memory. With each new leader that comes in, alignment with the original mission drops a lot. After 8 leadership cycles, you've lost almost 60% of the original intent. It's just gone. But look at the green line. With structural memory, where the purpose is that separate object, alignment stays incredibly high. You preserve nearly 80% of the mission. It's a huge difference. And all of this leads to a really fascinating kind of counterintuitive benefit. When your purpose is this clear and this stable, you just don't need as many rules and controls to keep people in line. And that's because enforcement is really just what you have to do when things are ambiguous. As this chart shows, when that semantic clarity, our shared understanding of what we're all here to do, is high, the need for all that enforcement and complex, heavy-handed governance just plummets. Instead of trying to manage by force, you're guiding everyone with a clear, shared reference point. It turns out, stronger memory actually enables lighter governance. Pretty cool, huh? Look, this isn't just some abstract theory for organizational design nerds. This has massive implications for the most important institutions that shape our society, the ones we really, truly need to last for generations. I mean, just think about it for a second. Public institutions like environmental agencies that need to operate way beyond election cycles, philanthropic foundations that have goals spanning multiple generations, cultural institutions like museums and libraries that are supposed to be stewarding our heritage. All of these are at constant risk of mission drift. They are the exact kinds of organizations that desperately need this architecture for purpose. So we'll just leave you with this question. Imagine a world where our most critical institutions, the ones dedicated to public health, to long-term science, to our cultural heritage, what if they were built with a memory that couldn't be corrupted by time or politics? What new possibilities could we unlock? What could we actually build if they could never, ever forget why they were created?